What's up, people? This is DJ.
Hey, mi gente, this is Ish.
And this is season 2 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Salsa, mi salsa es caliente, la miel de mi fuente goza y baila mi gente.
This week is Red Nose Day.
Oh, it's this week?
Yeah, they're really trying to make Red Nose Day happen in the United States.
The only thing left is for them to have Rita Ora promote it.
When you think of Red Nose Day, what do you think of?
Who do you think you are?
Of course.
Duh. That was back in the day of import CD singles and no internet, so you didn't really know why there were two videos of the same song.
And why they had a red nose.
Why they had a red nose, we didn't understand.
But anyway, everybody, welcome to episode 64. Pero let me tell you, how is everyone?
Welcome, mi gente.
So
¿Qué tal?
we're back to our regular format this week after being
Yes.
live last week.
Yes.
I loved it.
I really enjoyed it. I have to say, it was a lot more fun than I mean, I knew it would be fun, but I thought, number one, it was more fun than I thought it would be. Also sounded
It sounded good because we were like, it sounded like Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, well, this is an experiment. We'll see how it sounds, and we'll take it from there.
No, but they were great. The guys at Union Beer were great.
Yeah,
they were very happy with the outcome and the turnout. So
Next time, we want you to go.
yes, you, even our listeners in Cambodia.
Yeah, especially our listeners in Cambodia.
Yeah.
Totally want to see Cambodians up and down La Ocho.
Damn. And our listeners. Wait, what's some of the real obscure, like, foreign Cambodia? Didn't we have a few in Vietnam too?
Indonesia.
Yeah, we want you guys to go.
We'll welcome everybody, but we really want those guys to show up.
Yeah. We'll have a great old time. And there's a Velvet Cream next to Union.
What's not to love?
So no, but it was great. It was, as I said, a great turnout. We had a blast. So
Thank you again to everybody who came out.
We'll definitely in the future have more episodes there. They loved having us, and we loved being there. So
we were actually talking a little earlier today about doing another live episode, not like the Union Beer one, but something a little more on location.
you know what's would be kind of crazy if we have like a live episode in Las Vegas.
Maybe we will.
Anyway, when everybody, episode 64, here we are.
Yes.
So how's everybody been?
My God,
Pero Friday.
I'm gonna tell you though, I'm very exhausted this week.
Yeah, this week.
This week was, vaya, esta semana nos mató los dos.
Yeah, let's just say that yesterday there was an event that Ish went by our good friend Chris Valdez.
Yes, Chef Chris, thank you,
That
and
it-
Areli, thank you again.
It involved food, and I did not go because I was waiting for a client, and I left
Did
the
not
office
turn out the way you
open for
expected.
another hour and a half to wait for this client, and the client ended up not signing up, and I was like, I missed Chris Valdez's food because of this.
Meanwhile, I'm making like little pavlovas,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it was so good.
So.
As always.
Anyway, bueno, let's get to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yes.
So, this week, at the beginning of this week, everybody was talking about Game of Thrones.
That's true, and we've been talking about it since last week.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for like a month here on the podcast.
Yes.
You came to my Game of Thrones party.
I did come to your kudos on your Game of Thrones party. We posted a couple of pictures. The decor was very King's Landing pre-Daenerys.
Pre-Daenerys, yes. They did my girl Daenerys so wrong.
Yeah, you still owe way too much on the mortgage to do a King's Landing post Daenerys.
Yes. Right. But I really wanted to, you know what, as Mariah would say, let's be festive, right? And besides, Party City had all medieval decorations for 75%.
I put a little pobres. It's because they're going out of business.
So, only the one in
Helium
Kendall.
shortage.
So yeah, I really kind of went out but it was a great time. I cannot say that the finale was great, and
I know I don't watch the show, but I genuinely I found it boring. And
Well,
I don't know how much of that is because I wasn't a long-term fan, but I mean I know what's going on.
So here's the problem. I want to talk about Game of Thrones, but one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up,
if you haven't seen it yet, spoilers.
it's spoilers. If you haven't seen it by now, you know what? Hold it.
But we'll say it. We'll say it.
So, I mean, obviously, we're talking in the context of Game of Thrones, but I want to talk also in the more general terms, in terms of just TV shows nowadays. So, obviously, I think that the problem with Game of Thrones is that Game of Thrones has been a show that has set the bar so high in terms of
where's this going,
in terms of its content,
yeah.
it's everything in terms of the content, the writing, everything. I mean, it's every season it would set the bar higher and higher and higher. That it's like, how do you finish that off? You're
going to disappoint somebody.
You're going to disappoint someone. I mean, personally, I think that they just the way they did, and I had been saying this for weeks, what they did to Daenerys Targaryen as a character, her story arc was just atrocious. Because a lot of people that defend how the show ended say, no, because there was foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is not character development. Because if you stick something in season 2, no, because in season 2 she had a dream that in that dream she saw King's Landing and ashes. Right. So I'm supposed to remember this like scene of season 2,
from 10 years ago.
From 10 years ago.
Right.
And now I'm supposed to say, oh, it makes sense. It makes sense that they turned her crazy. Only 2 episodes.
As one does.
So
yeah.
So I was very unhappy with the ending, extremely unhappy with the ending. And what made matters...
Listeners, right after it ended, he was literally like on the phone with some of his friends, just like vetching and complaining about it.
Yes. And I was, to add insult to injury, they make Bran the king, which a friend of mine and I used to kind of joke around for like a year. This past year,
is what's gonna happen.
For shits and giggles, we'd be like, wouldn't it be funny if Bran is king?
Have you seen the meme that says that him becoming king is like that guy in the class project who doesn't do anything but gets the A?
Yeah, that reminded me of Beowulf when you and I...
Yeah, but it wasn't a group project. You just didn't read the damn book.
Yeah. Yes, but I have seen the meme.
20 years later, still not over it.
Yeah. No, clearly you're not. That's why I brought it up too. So, a lot of people were very unhappy with this ending. They called it the worst ending ever. The only ending that has been worse has been Dexter, which I agree with as well. Dexter was a terrible ending. Dexter was a great show. Mm-hmm. And the last episode of Dexter was...
Like literally the last episode.
The last episode of Dexter was... Well, the last season wasn't that great. Okay. But the last couple of episodes were not great. But the last episode in particular was terrible. But I guess the bigger topic of conversation is when we invest ourselves so much in these shows, because television is very different now, obviously, than it was just 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
When we invest in ourselves in these like epic marquee shows, are we setting ourselves up for failure?
I mean, I guess it depends on to what degree.
Because you're never going to make everybody happy.
Well, I mean, let's go back to Lost.
Oh.
I mean, I joke about it, but it's like, all these people who spent all this time, because the clues and they said this and that, and in the end, none of it mattered.
But let me ask you.
So it's not new, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but let me ask you. I mean, you're in advertising, which is let's make a long shot here in terms of. I know you're not in like show programming or show production, but. Something that a lot of people...
I produce the high-quality caliber programming we're listening to today.
Of course. A lot of people, whether it's with Game of Thrones or Dexter or whatever, they say, oh, but, in life, you don't always get a happy ending. My theory is...
That's what I have life for.
Bitch, this is not life.
Yeah, I don't go to TV for life.
But my question to you is, and what, our listeners out there, I would like for you to ponder, is... After you've invested so much in a show, and these shows go on for years, right? And they have a lot of fans. Should you, as a writer, do you have any responsibility whatsoever? Well, I don't know if responsibility is the right word, but should you have any consideration? That's a better word.
That is a better word.
In making a somewhat happy ending for your fans and kind of giving the fans something, or should you just be like, I'm going to be really creative and end it how I want to?
I think it's about telling the story. Again, we also have to remember that sometimes these things are mapped out way in advance. You know what I mean? So, like, especially once you announce, like, okay, I'm going to be around for 2 more years, 9 times out of 10, when that writer's room starts breaking the story, they actually will already start planting things for the long haul. So sometimes it's not about fan service or, well, I'll do this and not that, or, oh, I'm going to just go, fuck it all at the end. It's literally being planned out like a good 2-3 years in advance. Excuse me. I think there's something to be said for giving something to the fans to, as a thank you for sticking around so long. I also wonder almost now that you're saying it, and I hadn't thought about it until like literally 3 seconds ago, because TV entertainment, let's say entertainment in general now, is so quick to be disposed of. If maybe nowadays, program creators to a degree, I don't want to say that they don't care, but that they're just like, you know what? I'm going to be replaced by the next hot thing by next year anyway. And it's going to be a footnote because now you have so many options that it's not like before where, let's use Dallas as the example, right? Where like even after it was off the air, it was in syndication. It was, for you to see it, you had to always keep it in the back of your mind, and you couldn't just go and pop in a DVD or a VHS. So maybe there's something to that.
No, I understand what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, but a show like Game of Thrones is like that's going to be in the top of the tops. Like
right. It's going to be remembered for theoretically.
It's not going to be one of these shows that remember that show. I mean, Game of Thrones is going to be Game of Thrones the same way that
it's set lots of records and
the same way that as much as we hate on Lost, because Lost for its time, was a very epic show. True. And we could go on and on and on about epic groundbreaking shows. I just
do you think also that's a bigger problem that they face with like serialized dramas? Because Big Bang Theory also ended last week.
And Big Bang Theory ended beautifully.
That
is, it's so funny because I was
they're completely different genres.
Completely different. You can't compare one to the other. But I was thinking, Big Bang Theory.
It called back to the first episode.
Yes. It fixed the elevator.
You didn't have to see it.
It fixed the elevator, which everybody knew was going to happen.
Of course.
Everybody knew they were going to end the show without the elevator, right? And what I loved on how Big Bang Theory ended, and again, very different from Game of Thrones, is that it ended with them just around the sofa eating.
Yeah, but when Sheldon gave his speech,
it did. It had a
there's also a difference.
It had a full circle moment.
It's also, I think there's a difference between that because also that's a live action it's a 3-camera sitcom. And so when you're watching these people as they're tearing up while he's giving the speech, for me at least, that was the last time they were together. Like you were capturing, they weren't acting,
but there was an
emotion there.
I feel with like the ending of Big Bang Theory, and again, it's a very different show from Game of Thrones. But I feel that is more with what we talked about. The Chuck Lorre and the writers there are probably like, okay, let's go out with a bang, but with something that's going to make our audience feel good.
Right. Thank you for coming with us.
And
for
I feel
years.
that what I loved, and I'm going to parallel their ending with Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
I loved the ending of Everybody Loves Raymond because Everybody Loves Raymond was a show that was about everyday life.
Slice of life.
There wasn't like a major conflict throughout the series. No. It was about every day. So the show ended with them bickering around the kitchen table as they would every day.
Right.
So it kind of gave a finality without really giving one, and it made you as an audience member feel good
that their lives just kept going.
There was closure, but there didn't need to be closure.
Right.
I mean, obviously, in Game of Thrones and a show like Game of Thrones, there has to be closure, right? But I think that for a show like that, that had such a big fan base, I do feel that you need to give something to the audience.
Yeah, and I don't think they did at all.
Whether it was in the case of like Cersei, everybody was so disappointed with the way Cersei went out. I mean, one of the biggest villains ever.
¿Cómo es que tú decías?
Oh, Cersei, Cersei was my favorite character on the show. Let's make that one clear. She was the baddest bitch there was. That woman blew up that specter and just drank her wine from her balcony, and she was like, "Yeah, there you go, bitches." Try to mess with Cersei Lannister. Yeah, the great evil Cersei Lannister met her end because her basement caved in on her. Pretty much.
Essentially, she could have been killed by us in New York when we stayed at your cousin's house.
Exactly. And I'm like, it was so unsatisfying. Then, everybody throughout the whole show, everybody knew that the Iron Throne either would go to Daenerys or would go to Jon. So you mean to tell me that on top of that you killed her, which
nobody's getting it.
John's not getting it either. No, let's send Jon to the Night's Watch, which doesn't even exist anymore. What are you exactly watching in the Night's Watch? Because you know that the Night's Watch, because you didn't watch it,
was for the White Walkers.
Well, for the White Walker. Yeah. So what are you watching now? And then Arya becomes Christopher Columbus. The only one that got what she wanted was Sansa, because Sansa from the very beginning
wanted to be queen.
She wanted to be up there, and she wanted a nice dress. So she.
Okay, you know what? If you dream small.
I mean, she had to be pretty much raped, mutilated, embarrassed, sold to Ramsay. Gone through. She went through some difficult times.
Okay, but she came out the other end.
Actually, her character development was freaking awesome. And I told you that.
Yeah.
At the beginning of that show, Sansa was like one of those characters. I'm like, are they going to kill her anytime soon? Because
she was like the prissy,
so annoying. And her character arc. Well, I've told you that two of my favorite scenes of that show involve her. When she fed Ramsay to the dogs, and when she confronted Littlefinger in season 7. But I don't know. I just feel that a lot of these shows, I don't know if it's to be creative or to be, we're gonna, we're gonna do things differently. They go on turns that you leave the audience kind of like, what? I think that if you watch a show for 8 years and you know the ins and out of the show,
Right.
you shouldn't end it. You shouldn't be left with like, what? With questions at the end.
True. I mean, that's fair.
And
I think that's fair.
it's a TV show. I mean, it's a TV show. This is not life.
Right.
So,
Life has enough questions.
yeah,
at the end of it.
it's like no, So I feel that, especially in this day of social media, because mira, I took it back. Like I really started thinking about this. And listeners, think about like all the shows that have ended in the past. A show I was like really kind of dissatisfied with the ending as much as I loved it was Who's the Boss? Because I think everybody wanted Tony and Angela to get married, and they didn't. I thought it was cute that it ended
the way it began.
It began with her in the towel. So I thought that was kind of cute.
They still ended together.
Yeah, but they didn't end up getting married, and I think everybody expected them to get
Maybe
married.
they did.
Well, I would like to think that they did.
Yeah. Definitely before Mona passed.
Well, that was like 20 some years. So everybody, what did you think? Game of Thrones a dud? Not a dud?
I don't know. I think it's definitely going to be one for the ages where people are still going to. And moving forward, I think when you have certain shows ending, it's going to become like, is it going to be like a Game of Thrones ending? Or
you know what? That I know you know this, that the greatest ending of any show ever has constantly been considered Newhart.
Yes.
And I didn't really watch Newhart.
Me either. We were very young at that
I
point.
mean, yeah, the
Fairly
second one ended I think in 90 or 91.
Yeah, at that point we weren't watching a Newhart type show.
But I mean, we know very well that last scene. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I urge you to go to YouTube and look up Newhart finale.
Yep.
So Newhart was this show that ran in the 80s to early 90s by Bob Newhart.
It was the second.
It was
Bob
the second
Newhart
sitcom,
show?
right? It was the second Bob Newhart sitcom. He had a
The Bob Newhart show.
he had the Bob Newhart show in the 70s,
Right.
and then in the like mid to late 80s, early 90s, he had just Newhart, right? And though it was the same actor, it was two completely different sitcoms. And I won't give it away, but just look up last scene of Newhart, and it is genius what they did. I mean, it was so good.
But it just goes to show, like, I don't know if nowadays you can do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, because
that took no CGI,
no
no
in this
budget.
day and age, but in this day and age of the internet and leaks, and I don't know that you could have done that. I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever get another thing like that because they surprised the entire studio audience.
Yeah.
Like that, those lights went down and they rearranged everything, and when it came back up, the surprise.
Oh, I didn't
was
know
there.
that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the studio audience didn't know.
Right.
That was happening. Like, they finished their scene, the end scene, quote unquote, and then that scene was kind of set up, and then.
Well, I guess
because
maybe,
remember, it starts when he wakes up.
Right,
So-
but maybe nowadays they would just do that scene. They would do it without an audience.
Yeah, but the fun is the audience.
Yeah,
it's
they would do it
for a 3 camera.
But that goes to show that, like, very simple, because that took no budget,
Nothing,
no
just
CGI.
show up. Just show up. Here's
just
a script.
a creative spin that everybody loved, that people are gonna love,
because it didn't sour the rest of what happened.
Right.
It actually added something to
Yeah,
it.
it was. That's why 20-some years later, it's still considered the best. And again, even for me and you, that we didn't actually watch. I mean, we know of the shows and we know the premise of the shows. We didn't grow up watching those shows. Right. We still love and appreciate that ending. So, speaking of sitcoms, something aired this week that I when I saw it, I immediately thought about you. You know about the live.
I didn't see it because I was at Chris's event yesterday.
Of All in the Family and
the
Jeffersons.
Jeffersons.
It was great.
Hands down, one of the best, if not the best, theme songs ever.
It was great. And now it's like, now that I heard Jennifer Hudson sing Moving On Up, it's like, how can anybody but Jennifer Hudson sing that song, right? So what I wanted to, like, the bigger question is, okay, so let's inform our audience.
Yes.
So
Jimmy Kimmel.
This week, they did a live kind of
a reenactment,
of 2 actual episodes, 2 real episodes of The Jeffersons and of All in the Family.
Yeah, the All in the Family episode was the episode where they actually introduced George Jefferson.
Right.
And for the Jeffersons, then they did the pilot episode.
Right. So these are 2 real episodes. And they kind of did it live. and they stuck to the script,
Yeah,
so
it
there
was
was
the same
nothing.
script,
There
the
was
same
nothing
set.
changed to
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like 40 years ago.
Yeah, and they did this live, and it was a hit. From what I've read, the reviews were
Everybody seemed
really
to
good.
enjoy it.
I haven't seen if the ratings were.
Me neither. I haven't seen the.
But the
ratings.
reviews were great, and they had a great cast. I love Marissa Tomei.
I just love Marissa Tomei since
I mean,
a different world.
Edith. I mean,
you don't think about it, but it makes sense.
it total sense.
It makes
Total
sense when you. I wouldn't have thought about it, but yes,
total sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it was so fun to watch. So, I thought, and this is when I thought about you, I could see them doing that now with like classic sitcoms.
So a couple years back, I don't know if you remember this because it was a show on NBC. I think
Rock Live.
No.
Do you remember that on Fox?
It was called I think it was called like the Rerun Show, and it was on NBC, and it lasted maybe like 5 episodes at most. And what they would do is they would recreate episodes of old sitcoms. And actually, they did the caffeine episode of Saved by the Bell. But what they did
How do I not know this?
What they did was it was the same script, so it was the same script, same characters, but then they would layer in other things. So like for instance, in that it was the caffeine pill episode of Saved by the Bell. But then like at one point, like Jessie's so high on the caffeine pills, like she takes her clothes off and starts stripping. You know what I mean? Like so they tried to do like little jokes of the time and things like that in addition to the script. It lasted for like 4 episodes, so it didn't do well. But I think that now with musicals, after the debacle that was Rent Live, people are still looking for something live to bring people to the screen.
I thought you were gonna mention when you said NBC and Live that show Undateable.
I liked it.
I thought that show was great.
I liked it, and they would do 2 episodes every week.
And they were live. And what I loved
they
was
did the West Coast version and the East Coast version.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I have Hulu, and you could watch both.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
just thought that,
No.
the West Coast got the less live version.
No. They would do 2 episodes.
That was great. It was a show on NBC not too long
The first
ago.
2 seasons were not live.
Were not live.
It was a multicam.
So I mean, they kind of tried to save the show, and it was called Undateable. It was with Chris D'Elia. That was the biggest name.
Ron Funches.
I know.
Krista Miller was on it a couple of times. It was by the creator of Scrubs.
So it was just, as he said, multi-angle sitcom that it ran on NBC. It was set in like a Detroit bar, and for the 3rd season, the show when it would air on NBC, it was live, like if you're watching SNL.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because I love how they would like laugh at each other.
I love live
And
television.
it was just something different,
I love live TV.
But I didn't know about that rerun show.
But this was years ago. This was like the early 2000s, maybe.
But you know what? I can see them doing that now a couple of times a year with like classic sitcoms.
So I can see it happening. My only thought at this point is, where do you stop in terms of the shows to use? Only because I feel like our shared watching experience has diluted so much in recent years.
Oh,
that
no.
I don't
This would
know
be
if
like a
there's-
70s, 80s, 90s thing.
Like I honestly though, I wouldn't want them to do like an I Love Lucy.
No,
I think that's too iconic.
No, because I think that the height of a sitcom were from the late 70s to the 90s.
Like they could do a different Strokes.
Oh my God, they could do different shows. Family
Facts of
Matters.
Life, Family
I mean, there's
Matters.
so much they could do. I mean, the content is just incredible, the amount of content they could do. But yeah, I mean, once the 2000s hit,
It's a different world. No,
they could do a different world.
No pun intended, yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine them doing Friends.
No, because I think also Friends. Also at this point, Friends is so ubiquitously in reruns that there's nothing.
And Friends is a little bit more complicated because Friends was all about the chemistry between the ensemble cast.
Well, you could say that about a lot of sitcoms, but
Yeah, but especially Friends.
but I think the beauty of like All in the Family. I don't know where I would even watch All in the Family nowadays.
Yeah. Where is it? Is it?
That's my point. I know that the Jeffersons, they played on TV1, which most people don't have because it's part of an extended cable package. So that's what I'm saying. It would have to be shows like that, like Facts of Life. Like you can't watch Facts of Life right now. You can't watch Who's the Boss. You can't watch Growing Pains. Those
No,
are the
Growing
shows
Pains
that
you
I
can.
think-
Growing
Where?
Growing Pains is on Amazon.
Okay, on Amazon. But I mean, it's not in like perpetual reruns, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it should be shows that people have an affection for, but that you can't just turn on TV Land or Comedy Central. You know what I mean? And just
You know that I think,
or even Netflix because you have to search on Amazon.
You've
Prime.
mentioned this several times, and I think it's when you stop to think about it, it's kind of sad the whole sharing experience, the viewing.
The 90s is the last era of nostalgia we're going to have.
Yeah, because actually
Mark my words.
that was one of the things of Game of Thrones that I thought was kind of neat, that millions and millions of people were watching this.
It was a shared viewing experience.
So we can go back to be like, hey, remember when Game of Thrones ended?
Because even when Stranger
that's one show. That's one
Because
show.
even Stranger Things, it comes in and it's a hype, but it's a sharing experience where, like, I got to watch it this weekend and then it's over.
Yeah.
Like, there's no long...
But a show like Game of Thrones, there was a hype
Absolutely.
to the ending. But that's just one show out of like million shows.
Hundreds of shows.
I
nowadays.
think there's too much content right now.
I say this all the time. I can't watch this much TV.
Yeah.
I have to go to work.
And what upsets me kind of, it's quality content. But it's like, but
like when do you want me to? Whatever, we're turning into Wally.
No. But I think there's something to be said about what you're saying about shared experiences, because
Absolutely.
we could think back when we were in middle school, high school, or whatever time that everybody would watch.
Listen, we all know where we were when Marsha Cross pulled that wig off on Melrose Place.
We do.
Okay, it was, I mean, and again, people who didn't even watch Melrose Place know about that scene.
Right.
So it's that shared
I
experience.
can see it,
shared
I remember
culture
when
moment.
we were kids. Okay, when we were kids
Not
in
to
the
mention
80s.
that as Hispanics, we have an added layer of novela shared
Yes,
experience.
that's true. When we were kids in the 80s, people were still talking about who shot JR.
Yeah.
And that was years. That had already been
That was like
years.
a good 10 years.
Not 10, but I think Who Shot JR was like
Was it-
80, 81.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow.
I remember being a kid.
It was
and
still a
in
catchphrase.
80,
It
81,
was still
I was 2 years old. So obviously
so-
I didn't watch the JR episode, But
What toddler doesn't love high stakes drama?
when I was like 8 or 9 years old, that it had been years already since that episode. That was still something that was,
People knew what you were talking about.
Like Who Shot JR.
When you said that, people knew what you meant.
Knew exactly what you meant.
Absolutely.
So, everybody knows the iconic Charlie's Angels, like
The pose.
the pose. I mean, those
Angels in Chains. The episode where they go undercover at the jail and they're all running in shackles. Like, that image is a pop culture shared memory.
Yeah. Everybody remembers Suzanne Summers and Three's Company.
Yeah.
And I feel that those are things, that you're right, that now there's, with very little exceptions, people are not going to have that.
No, because I can watch what I like and I don't have to care about your...
Because,
it's become the shared... and it kills me inside to say this. You know what has become like the shared viewing experience things? For better or worse? Things like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and the Real Housewives franchises.
Oh my God.
But think about it.
You're right.
Those are the things that unfortunately have permeated the consciousness. These reality stars.
Andy Cohen.
I'm sorry, Steph. But
That's why I say it. I mean, I know all people, when they reach a certain age, they say it.
yeah.
But I am so happy we grew up in the era that we did.
Damn right.
I'm so happy that we did.
We had to learn about things.
I remember on Thursdays being excited about the TGIF lineup
For the next day.
for the next day.
For the next
Remember
day.
the song? It's Friday night and the mood is right. We're gonna have some fun, show you how it's done. TGIF.
And then it was hosted by one of the child stars from one of the various shows. Sometimes you got one of the 25 kids from Step by Step.
My favorite lineup. What was my favorite lineup? Which is your favorite lineup?
All right. I don't know if I'm going to get them in order, but the night, I'm going to get the
Yep.
shows. Full House.
Of course.
Family Matters.
Of course.
Step by Step.
Of course.
And the last one is a toss-up because that last one was changed so often. I know for a minute there it was Mr. Belvedere.
No, Mr. Belvedere was pre-Full House.
Damn
No,
it.
and at its peak, it was at my peak when I liked
Yeah.
it. It was Full House, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers,
Perfect shit. I forgot about Perfect
and
Strangers.
Just the 10 of Us.
I love Just a Ten. Where is it on Amazon Prime? Just
I
the
don't
10 of
know.
Us?
Just the 10 of Us ran for like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And then when that got canceled was that they brought in Step by Step.
But that because what happened, actually I heard this story. What happened was Miller Boyette made a deal with ABC to take over the Friday night lineup, and Just a 10 of Us was the only one that wasn't a Miller Boyette production.
And that's why it got canned?
And that's why it got canned.
That makes sense because that show had good ratings.
That show did well. That show
Yeah.
was a spinoff of Growing Pains. That show was doing very well.
Yeah.
And it got canceled because Miller Boyette was like, we want all 4 shows to be ours.
And then, that makes total sense. And then when Perfect Strangers ended, Perfect Strangers ended, they bumped up Step by Step to 9:00, and then at 9:30 was Boy Meets World.
Was it at 9:30?
Yeah, it was like at 9:30.
Wasn't Mr. Cooper part of the TGIF lineup at one point?
Much later, after Full House left.
Oh, okay.
When Full House left, then they brought in Mr. Cooper.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that was the shit.
Do you remember some of the lesser remembered
Dinosaurs,
TGIF? Well, dinosaurs.
Capital Critters.
Wow, I forgot about Capital Critters until you said it right now. Because dinosaurs went for a while. You know about the last episode of dinosaurs, right?
Yes, you
told
were the
you,
one who
right?
mentioned it to me. Was it you the one who mentioned it to me?
It was. I just don't know if I mentioned it to you, but yeah. They all die.
Yeah.
Do you remember Going Places?
Was that the Scott Baio show? No, that's Look Who's...
Baby Talk. It
Baby
was the
Talk.
Scott Baio show
Yeah.
where they changed the mother in the second season, but they kept Scott Baio.
yeah. As they do.
As they do. Yeah. No, Going Places was one with Heather Locklear about the two guys and the two girls that were in advertising and lived in a house together.
Oh, so she did that before she...
Yes. Apparently, Heather Locklear has a long history of fake
D&D,
advertising
was she in
careers.
D&D? Okay, you know what I just thought of?
And that took place in California, too.
You know what I just
Maybe
thought
it's the
of?
same character.
Completely off. Have you ever stopped to think about how camp is the word? And I'm going completely off a tangent.
Dale.
And our listeners, I think only maybe 2 of you will get this reference.
But you're going to love it.
Do you remember how camp and ahead of its time Beverly Hills Teens were?
that? You know what? I'm surprised they haven't tried to remake that on Netflix.
So Beverly Hills Teens was this cartoon that it aired in like the late 80s, right? Like
Yeah, it was syndicated.
80, 89, 90, and it was about these spoiled kids that lived in Beverly Hills, and all they hung around was the clubhouse, and then
The limo had a pool.
the limo had a pool, and then
One of them had a helicopter.
yeah, well, they were rich and they lived in Beverly Hills, and then the bitchy one Bianca had like the big black hair, and then
That's
Lark
what
was
inspired Mariah.
probably
Because she's got dark hair.
That's totally something that'll be up her alley, but yeah. I don't know why. Look up Beverly Hills Teens. So
It's great. It is great.
okay, so I want to switch to something that our listeners are going to enjoy, and we're gonna bring this back to Miami.
Yes,
with
we're
this.
gonna bring back to Miami before we switch over to our interview with singing sensation Abrina. We actually little fun story there. We had a snafu when we first met with her. Well, I had a snafu, which is really sweet, and her video actually drops today. I think actually.
We'll put it on our
for
Instagram.
Toda Tuya, so we got that coming up. But what have we got in store for all listeners today?
So
I mean, her video drops the same day as the Spice World Tour starts.
I actually want to talk about this because we always talk about it in past and laughing.
Oh God.
But I actually want to talk about it in terms of the reality and the psychology behind it, if we can.
The psychology. Oh my God.
And I'm totally
I don't know
bringing
if we have enough
I'm
battery
totally
for
bringing
that.
in Miami,
I don't know if we have enough battery life on
Pero
this
let me
recorder,
tell
my friend.
you, Cuban Hispanic here.
Ya tú sabes.
So last week,
All right.
we went to a wedding in
We as in not you and I.
right, well, no. We went to
We don't do everything together.
to a
guys.
wedding in where was it? Brooksville, Florida, which is about an hour and a half north of Tampa. And it was a great time. It was a group of us, and it was fun. And it was a very good friend of ours that was getting married, and we had a lovely time. So our friend that was getting married is Cuban, and all his friends are either Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican,
Latino.
Yeah, Latino from Miami. And I'm going to post this picture on our
Oh, I know what
Instagram,
picture you're talking about.
so you know that I'm not lying. Our friend is Cuban. He was marrying a white girl, an Americana.
All right.
Okay. The invitation said 6 p.m.
American time?
It said 6 p.m.
Okay.
At 6 p.m., the entire side of the bride's side of the ceremony was full.
They were ready to go.
They're ready to go. Everybody was there sitting down, con los abanicos, ready to go. There was not one person.
At all.
You saw the picture.
I saw the picture. Yeah.
On the Cuban or Hispanic side. Not one. As I said because I posted in my personal Instagram, I go, the Americans are here on time, ready for the weddings. The Cubans are still at home washing their hair.
Oh, no. Han empezado.
Yeah. No, estoy en un minuto. En un minuto.
Those Hispanic minutes that are like an hour and a half.
So it's funny because then like at 6:15, 6:20, everybody came in at once because the wedding was in a barn. So
Oh,
where you
okay.
parked,
It was a shabby chic barn.
yes, actually that's what it was called. Where you parked,
Okay.
they had to take a little golf cart
Uh-huh.
down to where the ceremony was, right?
Oh, that's cute.
Because it was like a gravel road. I mean, you could walk, but it was a gravel
No, pero
road.
con tacones.
Right, and the ladies had tacones and all that, and,
Yeah.
so whatever. So about like at 6:15, 6:20, you hear the thunder. Oye, porque no estamos tarde. They're rolling all the Latinos. Ahí. Como un show. And
Una pasarela.
it's funny because I guess he was like making light of it. One of, I guess, the groom's cousins who was Cuban. He's like, "Hi, my name is Manuel. I'm from Miami. Hi, my name is Manuel." I'm from, to like the American
people?
side. "Hi, my name is Manuel. I'm from Miami. I'm from Miami. Hey, I'm Manuel." And I was like, oh my God. And that's why I took that picture. And there is a picture, and we're going to post it para que vean que no estoy exagerando.
No
ni
es cosa
mintiendo.
tuya. Después la gente dicen que estás hablando mierda.
So let's really talk about this. Why are we always late? Why do we just not care? Like, we don't care about punctuality. Like,
So I think,
and I know that I'm totally to blame because I'm always late.
yeah.
But let me tell you something, son.
Yeah, you are.
You've gotten pretty bad too.
Well, at this point, why shouldn't I? If I'm the only one who's going to be on time.
No, because you were the king of punctuality at one point, but you are not punctual anymore. And don't
yeah.
blame it on me.
No, I'm going to blame it on Jose, actually.
Don't blame it on me.
Jose is one of the most laid-back, lackadaisical people I've ever met in my
Really,
life.
I've never noticed that. Good
It's
for
like,
him.
no, that turns me up a wall. It's like, I need you to hurry
Mira, porque
up.
I was on time. So no,
That's how
serious-
backed up those guys were.
Seriously,
I will say, you know what?
why
There's an
are we
argument-
always late? And it's all of us, no matter what type of Latin you
No,
are.
exactly. Because I
You're
was going to
late.
say, you can say, like, maybe, like, well, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, it's island time,
We
right?
run on
Like,
island time.
Right, it's island, it's very laid back, tropical, whatever.
Tranquilo y tropical.
Right, pero entonces que tú dices de toda Latinoamérica para abajo, because they're not islands. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Like, I really wanted to stop and think about it. Like, I know we laugh about it all the time, but why? Like, again, look at this example. All the white people were there ready
Without
to go.
exception.
They were all there sentadito, ready for the wedding to start. And it's not like, bueno, some Cubans were late.
Faltaban 10
but
personas, right,
but the
right.
majority were there. No, none of them were there.
Nobody was there.
You
Nobody
saw
was
the
there.
picture.
Listeners, nobody was in that picture.
You saw the picture.
Nobody. Not one. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe when you grow up in a country with as many problems as most of our Latin countries have, being on time ain't that big a deal. You may show up one day and somebody overthrew your country with the military. Did you really want to be on time for that bus when the coup struck? No.
No, but I started thinking about it. I'm like, but why? Why? Especially, what I really find interesting about our
Our shared experience.
our shared experience of being
experience of being
late
late.
is that we don't give a fuck. A wedding?
Oh, no.
And I was explaining this to a white friend of mine this week, and I'm like, you don't understand. In Miami, people put, like, if they're getting married at 2, they put one.
Yeah.
They put 1 because
They know.
it's like a game you play. It's
Every party I've ever had will start at 8. I'll tell people 7. Or if I wanted to start, I'd tell people 8 because it's 9. Or
Right.
yeah, I don't expect anybody. The only person who ever gets there early is Daisy, but that's okay because then she helps me set up.
Right. But it's like these tricks that we play.
Yeah,
with
we
each
have to
other.
get creative with this shit. But the funny thing is that we're all in on it though.
And they were
We
like,
all know when we see 8
exactly.
o'clock,
And
we're
they-
like, eso no empieza hasta las 9.
yeah, and they were all. My friend was like, "Really, you guys?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm not kidding." I'm like, "We really do this."
Oh, yeah.
we really do this. And I know that's not only a Miami thing; that's a Hispanic thing. But it's just so incredible that it's a wedding, no fucks given. We get there when we get there.
Wedding, funeral,
they're
baptism.
not going to start without half of the party there.
Hasta que la novia no camine, it's not going to start. So as long as her family's not there, ain't nobody doing shit.
I love how, like,
Okay.
when it's a casual party, it's like, you get there when you get there.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, just don't get there at midnight, pero yeah.
You get there when you get there. Oye, ¿por dónde tú vas? No, ya, yo estoy llegando ahí.
Ajá, sí.
And you're still in the shower. I may be guilty of that.
Very.
I've gotten a lot better.
Actually, I have to give you that credit, but that's,
No,
think praise.
I've gotten a lot better because at one point in time I really didn't give a shit. Like I'm like whatever, you know, because I'm of the point of view it's like okay, if you want to be early, you want to be early. If I want to be late, I want to be late. That's my problem. Unless it's like an appointment or like a reservation
Claro.
or something like that, because that's different, you know. But other than that, it's like whatever, dude. Go. I'll catch up with you. With that said, punctuality, like people that are like so punctual that if they're not early, they're late, annoy the fuck out of me.
I like being early. I like being there a little early for things.
Wow. How people have changed.
Yes, and again, I squarely blame Jose.
He's not here to defend himself.
That's exactly why I can squarely blame him.
Okay. So why are we always late, people? Leave us a comment on our picture that I'm going to post.
Tell us why your theory on why we're always late. Oh Lord! But you know who was not late this time around? For our interview was Abrina. She was on time. She was punctual, and she's Hispanic.
Beating.
And so you can't fault her. She's a lovely girl.
She is.
I mean, she's really poised. I mean, she's a singer. When we were talking to her, I think something I took away from it is how she's in her 20s, I think she said. Mm-hmm. But she really seems like she's got a handle on what makes the music business tick. You know, she didn't seem like she was jaded, but at the same time, she didn't seem like she had any fake expectations about anything. And now she's got a really interesting, cool little sound going on. And you know what? Hope you guys enjoy listening to our conversation.
Yeah, she's great. And I mean, check her stuff on YouTube. As
her
I
video
said
just dropped today
in the interview, she's doing a lot of, I mean, she doesn't like to put herself in a box, which is great, but she does a lot of like legit R&B music, which in the Latin market it's not that common. So if you definitely like R&B music, she's definitely somebody to check out. But again, she does a little bit of everything. Yep. So there's even something Selena for covers. Everyone. Yeah, and even Selena covers. So. Yep.
All right, so without further ado, here's that interview with Abrina. All right, listeners, so as we said, we have singing sensation Abrina with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Abrina.
Welcome to Pero Let Me Tell You.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Now, before we start, I have to share with our listeners a little bit of my faux pas from last Saturday where we had scheduled the interview. I showed up and I didn't have the SD card for the recorder. So thank you so much for being so understanding about that and rescheduling with us.
Of course. I was like just laughing about it. I mean, because you were so cute. You were just like, oh my God, I cannot believe myself. Like, I'm just like, honey, if you knew all the things that I do and make mistakes all the time, it's totally fine.
All an SD card.
All over an SD card.
So, Abrina, one of the things before we even start the interview that I thought it was great, and I think it gives a little bit of insight to who you are and maybe your message to your music. On your Instagram, Abrina Music, on Instagram, I absolutely love what your bio says. I want to make good music and travel the world. I read that and I'm like, so simple but so like beautiful at the same time.
It's like a mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I see so many people have like detailed bios or like something cool in there, like a cool way to like say that, you know, lend me your ear, I'll give you my heart. Like, I don't know. Like, but for me, it's honestly like, I'm just a real person, and like that, I want that to be conveyed in my music, and like that's just really all I want. Like, yes, I'm here to just make good music, and honestly, I love traveling. Traveling is traveling is my reward, like for everything that I like work hard for. So with music, I'm able to travel, so it's like amazing. It's one of the things why I love doing music. So yeah, that's me right there.
I loved it. I really did, because I feel that a lot of times, especially with social media or Instagram in particular, when you're talking about like musicians especially, their bio's always like new album drops or, you know, whatever. It's, you know, because it is promotion. I mean, at the end of the day, your social media is a good promo tool. But I read that, I was like, oh wow, I actually love it. It kind of stopped me in my tracks. So
nice. Well, good. I'm glad. I was actually just thinking about possibly changing it because I've had that for a while, but now I'm like, okay, cool.
No, don't change it. Or if you do it after our interview goes live, because then people will be like, wait, what is he talking about?
Right. No. I'm just going to leave it. I'm glad. I want people to just see it simply and just see it as like a perfect introduction to me, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, having met you, I can definitely say that I think it serves its purpose. You know, you definitely were just like a super cool chick. You know what I mean? That in the most positive, nice way possible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, let's take a step back, right? You know, obviously, you're a singer. If my memory serves me right, your first EP came out in 2012, was it? Or am I
2014.
2014. I was off by 2 years,
Yeah.
but as DJ will tell you, I'm horrible with years in general.
It's okay. Yeah.
So, I mean,
so am I.
Yeah. So, I mean, where did it all start? I mean, I know you're from San Diego. You know,
Yes.
your background is, you know, you have a Mexican family. So, I mean, you know, what take us back to little Abrina and I'm gonna be a singer, Mom. You know, and where did that take off from?
Yeah. So I was the kid that was in junior theater all the time and like dance recitals, and I just was like always in the arts. I was always in love with music and singing. And so I just like grew up always singing around the town and like in different areas. And but I would say the defining point was, you know, so when I was 18, 19, I was in this contest. It was actually in LA. It was at Universal City Walk, and it was like a performing singing contest.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because there used to be a BB King's there at Universal City Walk, and so that's who it was through. And so I ended up winning that, and after that, like I just kept getting hit up by like people wanting to manage me and like producers and people always wanting to like work. And so finally I just was like, you know, let me like really get serious here and stop playing around and like let me like see what I can do. So I kind of just like went all in, and then shortly after that, when I was like 20, 21, I moved to LA, and then that's when I really was like this is my life, and there's I'm all eggs are in this basket. That's what I'm going for. So
that's awesome. So you're in LA now. That's
yeah,
home now.
Yeah, I've been living in LA for like 5-6 years now. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you moved to LA, you know, with obviously the idea is to start a music career. What would you say was like your big break, or the moment that, you know, your music either, you know, you started having an audience, or it started to like get out there?
I would say, you know, my first taste of kind of like success was I had this song out with Baby Bash. It was called Fallback.
Oh yeah, Baby Bash.
He randomly, I put it out, I think it was around like 2014 when I started to like first put my music out. So I think I dropped my first single in 2013, 2014. And then I had another one, I think right after that, which was the one I did with Baby Bash. And he randomly, he's calling my phone, and I'm like, oh, cool. What's up? Hey. I'm like driving in LA traffic. I'm like, what's up, buddy? And he's
As
like,
one does.
Abrina. He's like, what's good? What's poppin', mama? And I was like, yo, I'm chilling. What's up? Like, I'm just like a little kid, like, is excited that he's calling my phone. And he was like, so I just got a call to go tour in the Philippines, and they're saying that they like, what's the song I'm on with Abrina? Like, who's Abrina? And we need Abrina. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I guess your song's doing really good out there, and they want us to come out there and tour. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, do you have a passport? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And he was like, okay, well, we're going in 4 days. And I was like, 4 days?
4 days?
Yes. I was like, okay. So, like, it was the coolest phone call ever. And then we did the research, and come to find out, like, the song was about to go, like, top 10 out there in the Philippines.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we went out there. We did some show dates. We performed at malls. We performed at clubs. And it was amazing. It was like my first experience where, like, you know, I was performing and people actually knew the songs knew the words to the song. and it was just like incredible. It was like the greatest experience ever. So that was like my first little like.
That's quite the accomplishment. Not only the recognition, but that so early on in your career, you were making a song and had the support of Baby Bash.
Yeah, seriously. Because he's someone that I always looked up to, also being like a Latino, doing music, but not being like that typical like Latin artist.
Yeah.
So I always looked up to him because I felt like he was never in a box. So what happened is how me and Bash linked up is like I opened up for him for a couple of shows, and so he met me and then he saw me perform. So he was like, "Hey, yo, like you're dope, like keep going." Like so he was always like an encourager. Cool. And then so when I brought him the song, he was like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "Let's do it." So,
what would you say? Because we live in a world where everything is so categorized, for better or for worse. I think sometimes for worse. But what would you say is your genre, your style? Because I think that you have a lot to offer. You have a lot of info that's by a lot of songs that are like bilingual. So what would you say is like your genre or your specific style?
So I like to classify myself as a Latin pop R&B artist.
I love it.
I know it sounds like, okay, that's so much. But yeah, my whole goal is to be ambiguous with my music and not be put in a box. So I definitely am like that type of experimental artist. And so I just, I want to be able to like do different sorts of music and be accepted for that, because I don't want to be in a box. So
that's awesome. Like that's awesome. And even if you are, you say a pop R&B, I feel Latin. That R&B, well, that's where I was going in my question. I feel that R&B is something that is so mischaracterized in the Latin community in the sense of what real R&B is, because I think that a lot of times they try to. I'm a huge R&B fan. It's probably the genre of music I enjoy the most. But I feel that in Spanish, a lot of times they try to mix like bachata and pop and even reggaeton and like kind of put it as R&B, which is not. And like when I think of like old school R&B Latin music, I think of like the Barrio Boys and stuff like that. So the fact that you consider yourself in part an R&B Latin artist, I think that that's extremely important, because again, it's a genre that is so mischaracterized in terms of what it really is, at least in the Latin community.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's exciting about it is it's kind of new to have these Latin artists now really do like R&B music. They're like the real R&B, like not the miscategorized one. But I feel like Tidal, for one, I love Tidal because they have good playlists that really cater to these new genres, and like the Latin trap and like the tropical Latin. Like there's all these genres where it's like it's kind of pretty new. It's only been a year since like this music has really like gotten out and been fused. And so now there's these and like I was just talking to the guys at Pandora, and because I've been like trying to explore this. I'm like, because with my new song Toda Tuya, it's kind of a R&B Latin song. It's a straight R&B Latin song.
Can we take a second to talk about that song though?
Yeah, of course. No, of course. But yeah, so it's a new genre, and there's artists that are really trying to do more of that. So it's just, it's just great. So I
didn't mean to cut you off, but I am so in love with your song Toda Tuya. Like it's you and Frankie J, right? And
yes,
talk about diversity in what you do. You've gone from doing like the hip hop thing, and then now this is a ballad. It is very purely a ballad, in my opinion. It's just, it doesn't sound like, I think I mentioned this to you when we, the last couple of days when we sat down. It doesn't sound like anything I would normally hear on the radio. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's, my opinion. I think it's, on the radio now, everything just seems so like ready for the next single. And this just kind of, I feel like it enjoys its melodies. It takes its time.
Yes, exactly. And that was my whole goal. I honestly, okay, so I'll give you a little background information. If I'm talking too much, just tell me.
There's no such thing. We're a podcast.
Okay. there is a point in time, I'd say last year and even the year before, where it, like, you know, music has its toll. Like, being an artist has its toll, especially when you're emerging. It's hard. Obviously, like, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But it just got to a point where I just was like, I don't really know anymore. Like, I'm just kind of like on my last fight. Like, I don't really know if there's much more I can give. And I just didn't really, like, I just was a little frustrated and fed up, which, you know, hey, is natural. And I still get frustrated and fed up, but, you know. So I just wanted to go in and, like, literally not stress about the radio, not stress about streams. I just wanted to go in and create something that was just beautiful, and I just had to, like, get it out. I just wanted something that, like, fully, wasn't worrying when I was, like, creating and not thinking about anything, like, of particular, like, genre or anything. So I just created freely. Like, I just challenged myself to, like, create freely. And that's why then I, you know, went the whole acoustic route and, like, did the guitar and, like, the melodies and everything. I just wanted it to be really, really pretty, real music, like, from the heart. And so that's when I created Toda Tuya. It actually was the song that kind of made me fall back in love with my music and with just music in general. So
oh wow,
mission accomplished. I mean,
it's kind of a full circle moment.
Yeah, it really was, and that's why, like, it's such an important song for me, and I'm glad that it resonates to other people. Like, the feedback about it has been that same thing, like, oh my god, it's a fresh of breath air, it doesn't sound like anything. And I'm just like, well, because that's what happened when I was creating it. I just created freely. I just wasn't thinking of anything, no radio, no nothing. So
now that you said create, something that I always enjoy in listening to different artists talk about their music is the way that they either compose or create you know, their work. So what is your process? Are you inspired by a certain, like, beat, and then from there you come up with like the sound? Do you write lyrics first and then kind of put the music to it? What is your process in the composition of these songs?
I normally come to the producer and I'm like, I'm craving this type of vibe. And I'm, you know, either like I want some turn up club stuff or I want something where I'm on an island and I want to listen to, or, you know, I want a beautiful melodic with guitars. Like, so it just, I'll come to the producer and I'll tell them my vision, what I want, the kind of vibe that I want. And then they'll create it. They'll give me, like, the, you know, the beat, the track, and then I'll just go lay melodies, and then we just start, like, piecing it together and writing it. So that's normally how it goes down.
Cool. Now you also talked about you know, the music business, and I mean it's hard to interview a musician and not talk about the music business. You know, as somebody, and I think I speak first as well, to people who love music, and we are big fans of so many people. You know, the music business obviously has changed dramatically in the last 5 years or even less, you know, with streams and YouTube and this and that. Whereas before, you know, as you know, the good old way, an artist would release a single and go out there and promote the hell out of it. Now it's a completely different field. How do you adapt to that, or what do you do in this ever-changing, you know, market and model in terms of releasing music? How do you approach that, or your people approach that?
Honestly, it's been hard for me because now we're in a content-driven industry, and it's like people are releasing a song a month, and it's about being consistent, and it's a singles game. Though nobody really releases EPs or albums like that unless you have, you know, a top 10 song streaming or on radio. And so for me, it's like I've had to literally, like, put myself on a schedule, like, draw it up, like, okay, I gotta make sure I post this many times on Instagram and IGTV, and try to do one cover a month, and then put out a song every other month. And so it's been challenging because it's so much, and you have to give so much. And then with social media, it's like you really have to, like, post all the time,
Right.
and it's like some weeks I don't feel like posting.
Do you find it as an artist, not even a musician in terms that you're trying to sell, as an artist, do you find that frustrating?
Very, very. It's like I don't want to look cute and post this photo right now. I just want to be in the moment. I've had to get so much better at this. I've you learn more about your fans and your audience, and you learn like what they like, and like sometimes, of course, I get way more likes if I post like a photo of me in a bikini. And aside,
I get the same reaction. It's weird.
I bet you do. And so I try not to like be too focused on like vanity and stuff. So I definitely try to like stick like with people caring about me musically, but obviously, I mean, if I'm looking cute and have a cute outfit on one day, of course I'm gonna post it.
Yeah, this has to do with what Ish and I, and actually in our previous episode, we talked about like influencers. Influencers are obviously people that have large followings on social media, and what I was saying was that people that are influencers for the sake of being influencers, but don't have a product, don't have something that they're promoting. It's like a project. I don't really find them that interesting.
I don't, and that's just like what is annoying, because you have people out there that have great music or have like a meaning behind them or like a goal or something, and they don't obviously not getting the same type of love as somebody that just looks great and just posts every single day, so like that's like the downside of like social media. But you just have to learn about your fans and just learn like how to find that balance. And so that's what I've been working on, is how to find like the balance of music and like posting, but then still at the same time keeping my sanity, because I'm sorry, I cannot post every day. Like every single online marketer or social media guru that I've talked with, I'm just like, no, okay, that's, you missed me with that one.
Yeah, and then it's like a catch-22, because then if you have somebody running your Instagram, posting every day or several times, then it's not you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, it's like I'd rather it be me. Like I've actually tried that before, having someone run my social media stuff and like writing and I would give them ideas, like stuff I would say, but then I would go on there and check it and see like what they would write, especially for Facebook, because I don't care too much about Facebook. So they would run my Facebook for them. So I'd go on there and I would see what they would write, and I'm just like, no, bro, I would never say this. Like, this is corny. What the, like, I don't know if I can cuss on here.
You can.
You can.
Oh yeah, I'm just like, hell no. So yeah, that didn't last very long at all.
But that's good. You got to stay true to yourself.
Exactly. Yes, and I want people to, like, if they see me post something and I write it, like, I want them to feel like, oh yeah, this is her. She wrote it. Like, I want them to get to know me and like get to know my personality. So.
Yeah, and it's a cute personality. They should get to know you.
Oh, thank you.
So I wanna touch on something you said. When you're like, got to keep yourself focused and release a cover every month, etc. You have a very, very good, I will say, cover of "Missing My Baby" by Selena.
Oh, thank you.
What inspired you to do that? Were you a Selena fan all along, or did it just kind of present itself and you just kind of like, I'll take a stab at it? Or because we love Selena over here. I mean, she's
God.
Yes,
she's the queen.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
of course, I'm a huge, Selena is like one of my icons. So being a Mexican American, I don't think there's one kid out there that isn't like, oh my God, Selena, So I've always grown up singing her songs. Like I sing her. I also did a cover to "Tu Solo Tu." That's like one of my favorite Selena songs. So it's just embedded in my DNA pretty much. So "Missing My Baby," like I wanted to flip the song, and then the producer, he had an amazing idea and like kind of just went with the music, and so I was in love with it. So that was something that like I yeah, I was like really happy to do. And then there's definitely gonna be more Selena covers coming because
All right. Well,
it's
can
like,
I can I
yeah.
suggest "Is It the Beat," which is one of my favorite songs of hers.
And I'll suggest I'm Getting Used to You.
Oh, okay. Those are dope. Yeah. Okay. I noted. Got it.
This interview was just an elaborate ruse to get our requests in.
Well, actually, I started this new cover series where I'm flipping songs with a harp.
Mhm. Oh,
So, yeah.
you play the
Oh
harp?
my god. No, I don't. Oh my god, I wish. No, my boy, Stilo. Shout out to Freddie Stilo. He's a producer that I work with, but he actually just started learning the harp. But he's an amazing musician, so obviously it didn't take him very long. So he's like playing a harp in the studio, and I'm just like, oh my god, like this is amazing. I've never seen somebody with a harp like in the studio right here. So yeah, me and him started like a cover sessions, like we call it like the harp sessions. And so we're just gonna flip a bunch of songs on the harp. And just
that's one of
put 'em
those
out.
instruments that you could take like the worst song ever and like put it on, play it on the harp, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then it's gorgeous. Yeah, for sure.
Can we get
Yeah,
a
like I want to flip like a ratchet rap song. I want to like, you know what I mean? I just want to do it all. So hey,
Flip a Little
I'm
Kim
taking-
song.
I'm taking requests.
So now that you were talking about Selena, what were some of your other, either idols or people that you looked up to,
inspirations.
Growing up?
Yeah, so I loved TLC.
Oh
They
my
were
God,
like
of
my
course.
first like love, my first group. I bought all their CDs. I would like go see them in concert. So definitely TLC was that for me growing up. And then Stevie Wonder is definitely that icon for me too.
Of course.
And then I've, gotta love Beyonce. I just feel like Beyonce, as far as like a performer, she's the best. She's the best.
She certainly is, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned her because when you were talking about a minute ago, when you were talking about releasing singles and all that, and the record industry, actually, here on the show, I've mentioned it that Beyonce, for being so commercially successful and being the the huge like monster of an artist that she is. You really have to give her credit over the fact that she chose not to have radio play in order to release these albums as a body of work. And when you were talking about that, about like, you have to chase like the next hottest single and all that, I thought about her because I thought about like what you were saying, that as an artist, it's hard for you to do that. And I was thinking, man, Beyonce, I mean, obviously she could do that because she was well established at that point, but that's the route that she chose. So I thought that was very. I thought about that when you were talking about the whole thing about releasing singles and all that.
Yeah. No, I think Beyonce has done an amazing job of going against the grain. Like the music industry goes right, like she definitely goes left, and so yeah. But I mean. And obviously every artist wishes they had that Beyonce effect where it's like, boom, my album's out, bye, go get it, hello, 1 million streams, billion streams, there we go. Like, you know what I mean? But no, she definitely, like, her strategies and stuff, like, yeah, she's the shit for sure.
So I mean, you have a few new singles coming out. The Frankie J song,
Toda Tuya, which just dropped, and now we've got the video, which
came
out
yesterday.
Right?
We'll go ahead and post it on our Instagram.
Absolutely.
So what's next? What's going on the rest of the year? Are you going on tour? Are you what can we expect?
Yeah. I'm trying to be consistent, obviously putting the songs out. So I have a couple songs coming out this summer. So Toda Tuya is one, and then I have a song called Suavecita coming out. Then I have a feature actually called the song is called Punani.
All right.
I like it already, not gonna lie.
Oh my god, you guys, I'm so excited about it. It's like it's more on the Latin wave, like, reggaeton, tropical. It's me and a couple other artists, Los Racas and this artist Blanca, and honestly, I'm excited because I call it the Punani anthem. So, I'm just gonna leave that there for you.
You don't have to say much more, quite honestly.
Exactly. So that's coming this summer, and yeah, so I'm excited about all of that. And then I'm also, yes, gearing up to go back on tour. I have a couple dates all around up until like July, and then towards the end of summer, August, September, I'm actually supposed to go back to Europe to tour. So last year over the summer, I did a really dope like Euro tour. I did mostly Spain and Italy. So we're setting it up that same tour pretty much again for this summer, but we're trying to add in more dates and do some more stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, Euro tour again, end of summer. So.
More importantly, will you be coming to Miami with the harp?
Honestly, there is no saying where I'm going with this harp, but all I know is like I definitely at some point, yes, if I can tour with this harp, of course, yes, I'm gonna figure it out. It's gonna happen.
Here's a name for the album: Music of the Harp.
Oh gosh, I love it.
All right. Well, Abrina, again, thank you so much. You're as lovely, as sweet as you are talented. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you in person, and it's been a fantastic, great pleasure talking to you, a little longer and actually recording it, which we wouldn't get a chance to do last time.
Are you sure you pushed the record button, right? You're good.
God, we'll find
I'm
out.
looking at it. It's recording.
Okay, cool.
If not, we'll just schedule another interview. But again,
I'd be like, I think I see what's going on here.
It's just easier to just say, like, look, can we just talk? Like, just chat. I miss chatting with you.
Honey, if you just want to chat, just let me know.
That's awesome. But again, we wish you all the success in the world. And again, your new single, Toda Tuya, is out now, and the video just dropped. So, honestly, we can't wait to just keep hearing more and more from you.
Thank you. Well, actually, the video's dropping May 23rd. So,
oh yeah, no, it's just because
it's coming.
we're doing a little bit of radio magic here, guys.
Oh, actually, whoops.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
But thank you so much. We can't appreciate it enough. And we're gonna post your stuff on our Instagram and tell our people to go check you out, for those who haven't checked you out already, because you really have something. Not only are you a great musician, but as you said, you have something to offer, especially to the Latin community, that I think that has not really been tapped, at least not that much before, and it's great what you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to be on your show and for showing your support. It means the world. And hey, I'm down to do this again whenever we can.
Well, you just say the word and we'll make something happen.
Okay, dope. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Let me tell you.
Love it. Bye, love.
Bye.
And we're back.
Hello, everyone.
Hola. Konnichiwa.
Hola. No. Oye, te lo digo yo, que el Fubayo Supermarket te trata mejor. Who remembers that?
Well, you and myself and a couple other people from here in South Florida.
Mm-hmm. Fubayo Supermarket.
Mata picanha, right?
It was? Oh, yeah. You've brushed up on your Cuban.
See? I can be taught.
You could be taught. You
be
brushed
taught.
on your old school Cuban stars.
Yeah, well, there's only so many still around.
Hey, Mata Picanha is not that old.
She's, what, in her 60s? Maybe?
Yeah, 60s,
okay.
70s.
Okay. Not that bad.
There's a lot of food value left in her. So, welcome. They should do a remake of Cagney and Lacey.
No. Oh my God, who did I say they should do a remake with?
Aren't they doing a remake of Cagney and Lacey with Jessica Alba? And
it's a sequel of sorts for Bad Boys, but essentially it's
okay. Yeah. Do you know that one of these things that just, as much as I don't really care for Perez Hilton, does that get me se me quedó when he used to call Jessica "Don't call me Latina Alba"? Remember when he was mean that he would call her that? For some reason, that stuck with me.
It's funny you bring him up because Robbie Williams was doing a live Instagram thing, and for some reason he called Perez Hilton and they were talking to each other.
That's because they live in LA.
I guess, but it was just weird. Like Robbie was just at home, like on his bed with his floppy hair, talking to Perez Hilton, and I'm like, I don't think I could have imagined that this was going to be happening on Instagram today if I'd really even thought about it.
You know, it was disappointing, but totally him when I found out that his cribs was fake.
Oh, the
Robbie
the
Williams'
castle?
crib, yeah,
That was fake?
totally fake. He didn't live there. I think the owner of the
Aw.
castle was Jane Seymour.
Oh, Dr.
Yeah,
Quinn.
yeah,
With her heart-shaped lockets.
yeah.
Is that
Open
where
your
she,
heart.
Is that where she designed all of them?
I don't know. So let's get thirsty, people.
Let's get thirsty. It's time for the last soda.
Last soda of the desert.
So, do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
All right. So, my last soda is actually going
Oh,
what?
I want to tell you something.
Oh.
Oh my god, I want to tell you
my God,
something.
oh my
I
God.
can't believe I forgot.
This seems life-changing.
And I'll make this quick. Last week, I was leaving Publix,
Okay.
and there were these like young, like probably in their early 20s, trying to get signatures and awareness for some type of charity cause. And I like to be nice to them because I've been on that end, right. So I like to be polite, but when you're leaving Publix, it's like I have
things to do.
Yeah, I have things to do.
I have to go put away the
My ice cream is melting.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And this girl comes and she's like, "Oh, do you have a second? We would like to talk to you about how you could, with just a few dollars a month or whatever, you could help people sustain themselves."
It was Heifer.
It was the Heifer
It was
Corporation.
the Heifer Corporation.
And I was like, "Are you from the Heifer Corporation?" And she's like, "Yes, you know about that." I'm like, "I know about you." I'm like, "In fact, we've highlighted you on our podcast at perolemittellyou.com on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher." And I told her, in fact, we've mentioned you in several episodes. Hopefully she won't listen to how I've kind of laughed at whatever. But I was like, keep up the good work. So I met the Heifer Corporation. I met the Heifer.
You see, I'm sure she enjoys being called that. Yeah.
But she was so like, when I told her, "Oh yeah, the Heifer Corporation," she was like, "You know of us?" And I'm like, "Yes." And we profiled you on our podcast, some time ago. So yes,
You see,
yeah,
things come full circle.
Okay.
So my last soda, is somebody who I don't think I've given this last soda, but who the hell even knows at this point. I'm going to give it to, for no reason other than their tour kicks off today. I'm going to give it to Jerry Halliwell. The Spice World tour starts today. The reason I'm giving it to her and not the rest of the girls is because she just posted a picture yesterday where she's apparently got some deal with L'Oreal and now she's back to being a redhead and she looks so beautiful in the pictures.
Well, she's going to be ginger now on the tour.
But it's like red.
Loving, stop that pushing, shoving, yeah. Although if it's Jerry, we should sing a Jerry song.
¿Dónde está el hombre?
Con fuego en la sangre. None of the American listeners are going to get any of
No, they're not. They're not.
Stuff.
But it's okay. Check it out.
What is it? Bag Me Up. Dun, dun, dun,
I
dun,
love
dun.
that song in that video.
You know that song, Bag Me Up.
Bag
It Up. All that I can think of is when
The legs?
No, when that video came out, I was in some club in like Italy.
Okay.
And the video was on the screen, and I'm like, let me stop what I'm doing to watch the video because God
take it
knows they're
in.
not gonna watch that at home. They're not gonna play that at home.
No, they're not. No, they're not. That's like I was at an
I was in some. I remember it was like an underground club in like Florence or something.
Is this when you went with Melissa and Daisy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's Jerry Halliwell. They're not gonna play this at home. So
Soak it in.
Soak it in.
Soak it in.
Soak it in.
So yes, I'm gonna give it to all the girls, but specifically Jerry, just because I'm happy she's back to being a redhead. That's all. It's a simple, stupid
So are
reason.
you giving it back to Jerry or are you giving it back to L'Oreal?
I'm gonna give it back to. I'm gonna give it to Jerry for
Ginger
using-
Spice.
To Ginger Spice. Yes. Yes.
I should totally be a total fucker and give mine to Victoria.
She'll always be a Spice Girl.
No, she'll always be posh.
She'll always be posh.
I am convinced that she's going to come out in some way on this tour.
In the Wembley, at least.
Yeah, because all the merch.
It's got because I love that all the merch has all of them.
Yeah, no, that's fine, but they've really gone out of their way to like include her and everything. So I don't know, maybe she'll do some type of like little video. Like they'll do some video, like when Britney was trapped in the elevator at Madonna's concert. Do you remember that? It's Britney, bitch. Anyway, so
on to yours.
My last soda is going to Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
I can never say his last name.
Buttigieg. Yes.
Okay.
I have to tell you that
He was here recently.
Unless he totally fucks it up from here in November, that guy, he doesn't cease to impress me, and I really, really hope he gets, well, not only the nomination, but I hope he wins the presidency. He's such a wonderful person. I mean, do you know his credentials?
Por arribita.
Okay, he went to Harvard. He's a Rhodes Scholar.
He speaks 7 languages, I know
Yes,
that.
he learned a language so he could read a specific book.
Really?
Yes. As I said, he's a Rhodes Scholar.
There are people who speak English that can't be bothered to read in English.
Think about that he's a Rhodes Scholar, and he's a veteran. He served his country, right? He is. There's a couple of things I disagree with him on. Like,
well,
he's one of these people that he's not for the Electoral College, which I am. But overall, he's such a reasonable and well-versed, intelligent person, which is the type of person that needs to be in the White House. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed about his candidacy, and I've really enjoyed about him, is that obviously he's never hidden the fact that he's gay and that he's married to a man, but that hasn't been the center of his platform either, because as he says, I'm here to serve all Americans. And I think that that's something that usually when we fall in minority groups, we forget that we have to serve everybody.
We tend to bring it out.
Right. Even if we obviously have a personal stake or a personal investment in whether it's LGBT causes or civil rights causes or whatever. Yeah. But he said something this week that I thought was just so, the way he posed it was just so wonderful. He said, he was being interviewed and they said, look, the Franklin Graham, who's like very outspoken against LGBT, Mike Pence, obviously, which is, conversion therapy, very outspoken against, LGBT in terms of equality and things like that. They're going to have a problem with you, especially since you're a man of faith. What would you say about that? And this is what he said. I guess I would say that we all have a lot to repent for. I have a lot to repent for when it comes to my marriage. Moments when I have not been as caring as I should be. Moments when I've been selfish. Moments when I've said harsh words that I wish I could take back. But one thing that I absolutely should not be repentant for in the context of my marriage is the fact that I love my husband. I was like, oh my gosh, like, he's so, because that could have been a moment that he's like, well,
who are they?
Who are they? And,
right.
You got to respect, he could have totally taken that in a completely different direction, which if he would have, he's certainly entitled to.
Right.
But he did it with such dignity and such grace. And that's something that I have to say that about him. Every time I see him, I like him more and more and more. He was on Jimmy Fallon last week, and he slow jammed the news. I mean, that's, for me, it's like, okay, that's it, we're done. When is your campaign starting? I want to be part of your campaign.
So he made Jimmy Fallon watchable.
Oh, let's not start that one now. Not at the last soda. This is something you should have started at the beginning of the show. But anyway, I really like him. I think that he, whether you agree with his politics or not, he's somebody who brings, I think, integrity and respect back to potentially back to the office of the presidency.
To politics.
Into politics. He, up to now, that's why I said I hope he doesn't fuck it up. Because I hope, Trump is going to get nasty. And I hope that if his stock continues to increase and more he's seen as a threat to, the Trump ticket, that I hope he doesn't go down the route that I'm going to get nasty if he gets nasty. So I don't think he would.
I don't think he would. I just think that I think he would make, for right now, a better vice presidential candidate. I don't know that. Listen,
why do you say that?
Because if America wasn't going to vote for a woman, they're not going to vote for a fag.
Okay, first of all, you didn't have to put it that way.
But I'm putting it that way.
And Hillary Clinton won the popular vote.
All right, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that.
You know what? I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but we elected a black man twice, and Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, and he right now for again, he's open about who he is, and for being pretty much. Nobody knew who he was. He wasn't an established politician.
He was a mayor.
But the fact that he's up there with the candidates in terms of like who's leading in terms of polls. Mm-hmm. He's very much up in the top like 3 or 4. And the fact that he's so well known now and people like him, I know. I mean, I could he win? It's going to be a long shot. But then again, nobody thought Trump was going to win either.
Stranger things have happened.
And you know what? The fact that he is unknown, that he is gay, you would think that those would be strikes that would really, really, he would be in the trenches with other candidates that you that have announced their candidacy, and you don't hear of them. And quite the opposite, you hear of him a lot. He's getting a lot of press, and all positive press. So no, I think that the same way that politics have gotten really dirty because of Trump, I think all bets are off. I think people that maybe you thought couldn't win could. So
no, I hope so. I'm just saying I sadly,
and also keep in mind that are there a lot of people who did not want to vote for Hillary Clinton because she was a woman? Of course.
But she's also Hillary Clinton, and she's
course.
a polarizing figure.
Right, exactly. She's very polarizing. She had a lot of baggage.
Independent of being a woman
she
or
had a
not.
record. Right. So, a lot of people did have a problem with her, absent of her sex, and she still won the popular vote. So, Mayor Pete, my Coke is for you.
Yes. Bueno, caballero, that is another installment of Pero Let Me Tell You.
I can't believe you use that word. That's just an ugly word.
I use that word all the time.
Well, whatever. It's still ugly. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed our episode. and please get back to us. We really want to get down to the whole thing of why we're
we
late.
really want to see if we can figure this out, like by committee at least.
Why are we late?
Why?
So everyone, thank you as always, and we hope you listen, laughed, and learn. And grab your croqueta, your pastelito, and your jupiña. And thank you so much. That was episode 64.
Bye.
Bye.
Baby, quiero ser tuya, toda tuya, bajo la luna. Oh, quiero ser tuya, toda tuya, 'cause I know that I'm ready. I hope you don't keep me waiting. Yeah.
We are recording
Turn it
now.
off.
Is it on yet?
Yes, sir. We're on.
Welcome to the bonus content of Pero Let Me Tell You, episode number 60...
65?
65.
64.
64. If this was a Janet Jackson album, you'd be listening to Whoops Now. Sorry, I can't go.
Or she'd be talking about you.
I'm also here. I'm back. My name is Tristan.
Oh,
He's
he's gonna
back.
rap.
Welcome back. Come on, Tristan. Welcome back.
Welcome to Pero Let Me.
Welcome back. Okay.
Oh. He's
Welcome
professional.
to Pero Let Me Tell You. Let's start. Pero Let Me Tell You. Yeah.
All right.
And now that he's blown out your speakers. So Tristan was very excited to be on the show again. He was very excited to be on the show again. So we wanted to give him this little bonus part. So
Absolutely.
Tristan, welcome.
Now let's start this song of Pero Let Me Tell You.
You don't have to get so close, Bobby.
Yes. If you get close to the microphone, you're going to blow out the speakers of our listeners. So speak like right here.
Their
where my hand
eardrums,
is.
too.
Okay. So Tristan,
Right there.
so what happened this week? This was a big week for you. What happened on Monday? Tell our listeners.
It was my graduation
Your graduation from what?
From Harvard, Yale.
from my school.
From what grade?
Pre-K.
And now where are you going next year?
Kindergarten.
Okay. And how was your graduation?
Very nice for very cool.
Can
You
say-
are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Cha. That was awesome, dude.
sang many songs. They were
Really?
very, very nice.
It's like a little musical review.
There was a lot of good food and all that.
50 nifty United States from 13 original colonies. 50 nifty certain the flag that belongs so beautifully in the brief.
Okay.
Ancient,
Okay,
invisible.
but we don't have to get all 50. All of our listeners know the 50 states.
They do.
So
We've quizzed them.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California.
No. Okay, so listen.
Wait.
Tell our listeners, because here on Pero Let Me Tell You, we share everything. What happened yesterday?
Uh-oh. What happened? What happened, Tristan?
What happened in school? Do we have amnesia now?
What happened? Did you get a prize?
Nope, I behave so well. You never know, dear, how much I love you. You don't take my sunshine away.
I like that.
Liar.
I like that had a little hillbilly.
What happened in the morning yesterday?
Don't tell anyone, and I'm not gonna tell anyone either.
We had a little problem with
Don't you dare tell anyone.
Okay. So what else do you want to talk to? What else do you want to tell our listeners? Do you want to talk to our listeners about Mamas and Merlot Stephanie, her favorite subject?
Oh my! Oh my!
Okay. He was listening. He was singing.
Is that Poker Face?
No, he was going. Mama, na 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 with the boy with
We
love.
are Canada within 10 provinces and 3 territories with capitals and all.
This is the most international we've ever gotten because we started with the 50 states and BTS and now Canada.
So how many counties are there in Texas?
254 in Texas.
What is the capital of Qatar?
Doha.
What is the capital of Canada?
Ottawa.
I bet you most Americans don't know what the capital of.
I don't know.
They would say like Toronto.
Alabama. Montgomery.
What is the capital of Bolivia?
La Paz and Sucre.
What is the capital of Argentina?
Buenos Aires.
What is the capital of Bhutan?
Thimphu.
What is the capital of China?
Beijing.
What is the capital of Russia?
Moscow.
What is the capital of France?
Wait a second. Russia's also called Russian Federation.
Okay, the Russian Federation.
They're called two ways, Russia and Russian Federation.
Okay.
Got it.
So, okay. Are there any other countries you want to talk to us about?
Yeah. France, Paris.
How about Spain?
Madrid.
How about Germany?
I don't know. I don't remember.
How about
Belgium.
Belgium?
Brussels.
How about Greenland?
Nuke.
Oh, how about Iceland?
Bjork.
Refrigerate.
Say that again.
Refrigerate.
Who has a refer trick? What?
That's the capital of Iceland.
I think he's trying to say
the capital of it. Let me try.
¿Cómo se llama?
Reykjavik?
Yes.
Reykjavik.
Reykjavik?
No, Reykjavik, listeners.
How about
I already know, listeners. Reykjavik.
how about Puerto Rico?
San Juan.
How about the Bahamas?
Nassau.
Nassau. Okay.
More.
How about Panama?
Panama City.
How about Mexico?
Mexico City.
How about Uruguay?
Well, they just got lazy on those two.
Montevideo.
What's Uruguay again?
Montevideo.
Montevideo. How about Honduras?
Honduras. Let me check. No, I don't know.
Nicaragua.
Wait, what about Honduras? Is that Tegucigalpa?
What did you say?
Nicaragua. What is Nicaragua?
Managua.
Managua. How about Italy?
Rome.
How about the People's Republic of Congo? No, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh, it's not the Peoples anymore?
I don't know.
How about Nigeria?
Abuja.
Uh-huh.
More.
How about South Africa?
Pretoria.
How about Egypt?
Cairo.
How about Morocco? How about Australia?
I know. Canberra.
How about Buchos Gali?
That's not a country.
How about
Trick
India?
question.
India? New Delhi.
How about Pakistan?
Pakistan? Islamabad, I mean.
So thank you for
More.
No, that's
No,
it.
buddy,
That's it. We gotta go. We gotta go. We're running out of battery. Hey, the baby, listen, don't worry. I will be up. Don't stay up and wait for me.
Do you have a pretty coloring sheet? I just colored them all. I need you to print me more when you finish.
Okay, well, we'll bring you more when we're done. But thank you, baby.
Thank you for joining us,
Thank
Tristan.
you for us. And that is the bonus content of our episode.
Did it just
Thank you.
Did better let me tell you just finished, listeners?
Yes, it just finished. Say bye to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, are you guys still done?
We're done.
No, print me coloring sheets.
No, I'm not. Oíste que